All right, so we got our first snow here in Switzerland, so I thought we'd maybe do a little walk and talk. So this is Mark Rober. Mark Rober is a NASA engineer turned Apple product designer turned awesome science YouTuber that is creating some of the coolest science content in the world and is one of the top YouTubers out there with over 59 million subscribers and 8 billion in views. That's an amazing story in and of itself. And if it ended there, it would be fantastic. But what makes Mark's story so exciting is that he actually built a $50 million plus business from selling a physical product from his YouTube channel. And so today I want to walk through his transition from being a content business, an ad and sponsor revenue generating business to a physical product business and how he did that so successfully. And stick around to the end because I want to walk you through Mark's exact growth strategy and how you can apply that to your creator business. Mark's YouTube journey starts like most creators. He's trying to find an audience, creating content that he finds interesting, and he finds some early success. One of Mark's very first video about creating this very cool Halloween costume went super viral, was picked up by numerous news publications all over the world, and generated over 1 million views in the first few days of it being uploaded. As he continued to create content, he was generating tens of thousands and then ultimately millions of views per video on his channel. And so with that, he was able to start generating ad revenue through Google AdSense. But like all channels, when the views start coming in the tens of thousands and millions of views per video range, the sponsors and brands start coming knocking, which is great for Mark. So Mark was able to add on, in addition to doing the AdSense revenue, he was able to add on sponsorship revenue. And I know this firsthand because I was a sponsor of Mark years ago in my former role as a head of growth marketing at Skillshare. As we talked about earlier, Mark's business story doesn't end there. In 2022, he launched his first product, which was a STEM subscription box geared towards kids, helping them create cool and exciting science and engineering experiments that were very aligned to his YouTube channel and what he was building there. And that blew up. It wasn't until he launched that product that he saw his revenue skyrocket. But why push beyond ads and sponsorship revenue when you have likely a multi-million-dollar a year business around it and you have an amazing track record for growth? I think the numbers start to tell the real story. And so that's what I want to dig into next. Okay, so let's break down the math behind Mark's different revenue streams over the years. Let's start with ad revenue because that's where most creators begin. And we're going to look at Mark's numbers as of kind of today, just for simplicity's sake. So Mark's generating about 30 million in views per video that he launches on YouTube, which is insane. Brands run ads on those videos and creators earn what is called an RPM. RPM is revenue per mil. There's a range in what you could actually earn in RPM and it fluctuates. And it's really dependent on a few factors, including your audience mix, where your audience is located, the category that you create videos in, the engagement on your videos, the length of time people are watching them. So there's a bunch of different factors, but most of the creators I partner with today are earning anywhere between $5 and $15 in RPM. And so let's assume, for simplicity's sake, that Mark is on the lower end of that and he's earning $5 per RPM. And so if we apply $5 times 30 million in views, he's generating roughly 150K per video, just from Google AdSense revenue. 150K over a year is about $1.8 million per year, which is incredible. Again, multi-million dollars just from ad revenue. But as we talked about earlier, as you start building a loyal following on YouTube, you start generating tens of thousands a month and then ultimately millions a month in YouTube views, the sponsors start coming, which is great because now you can further monetize your content business and become a full-time creator. And so brands will pay a CPM based on the average views you're getting per video. And again, this varies wildly depending on your audience, your content type, how aligned that content is to whatever that sponsor or brand is selling. As I mentioned earlier, I ran growth marketing at Skillshare and oversaw our influencer marketing program in partnership with creators. And we pay creators various different rates, but on average, typically creators will make anywhere from, let's say, $10 per CPM, all the way up to maybe $50 per CPM. And again, it varies depending on the creator. But for Mark's sake, let's assume since he's a tech creator with a huge audience, he's making $10 per CPM. So $10 per 1,000 views that he's garnering from his YouTube channel. And so with that, if he's got 30 million views per video, he's earning $300K per sponsorship on every video that he has, which again, $300,000 per video. He's doing one a month. That's over $3.6 million a year. So he's generating almost $5 million a year just from ad revenue and sponsorship revenue. That's amazing. He can invest tons in his content business and continue to grow his YouTube channel by leveraging some of that earnings and investing it back into his content.
How much does a shoot like today's cost?
This one's probably like 400. Rarely am I getting out under 6 figures these days.
But these revenue streams fluctuate wildly and are very dependent on external factors that are out of Mark's control or out of any creator's control. They factor in the ad demand that Google's getting from different businesses. So as businesses advertise less on Google and on YouTube, creators will make less. The RPMs will shift depending again on how much demand there is for that ad spot. And so it makes sense that Mark was looking for ways to monetize his audience and continue to make more and more revenue from his business. But the business really didn't skyrocket until he added this third revenue stream in a physical product. So now let's look into the math behind the Crunchlabs subscription and try to break it down to understand why it was so successful for Mark. So each subscriber to his kids box is priced at about $300 a year, $27 a month. And he also has the now new teen and adult subscriptions priced at about $400 a year. So for simplicity's sake, let's assume that each subscriber pays an annual plan at $300 or $400. His mix is roughly 50-50 for children, 50% for teen and adults. And so the average subscription box is worth $350 a year. He says they grew to 100,000 subscribers in the first 6 months, but let's conservatively assume that number is now 150,000 subs today. And so now they have 150,000 subscribers paying $350 a year. So 150,000 subscribers per year times $350 a year is roughly $52 million in revenue per year. On a monthly basis, that comes out to about $4.3 million a month. So how does that compare to the ad and sponsor revenue? Let's look back. So ads, again, were generating roughly about $150,000 a month for Mark. Sponsorships, that was earning him about $300K a month. And now the Crunchlabs subscription is earning about $4.3 million a month, significantly more than those other two revenue streams. So it makes complete sense as to why Mark transitioned away from those ad revenue streams and sponsorship revenue streams and focused on the Crunchlabs subscription. But that's not all. Now we know that he's generating about $4 million a month from his existing subscribers. What about for every new subscriber that joins after they see his new YouTube video? And so let's break down that math. Mark's videos are getting, again, about 30 million in views per video on average. Typically, I see with creators anywhere between a 0.05 and a 0.15% conversion rate to their courses or community or subscriptions, whatever they're selling their audience. For Mark's case, let's assume since he has such a big audience that not a lot of people are converting. So let's assume instead of 0.05%, let's assume 0.02%. So way less than 1% of all of his viewers are converting to a subscription. So he's got 30 million views times 0.02%. That's 6,000 new subscribers joining every time he launches a new video times $350 a year that they're paying equals $2.1 million in new revenue earned per year for every YouTube video that he launches. So you can see why this is such a big growth engine for him. He's getting 6,000 new subscribers every time he launches a new video. He's then taking some of that $2 million in earnings that he makes and pulling out some of it and investing it back into his YouTube channel. He's creating better content, expanding his audience, and that in turn is driving more subscriptions to Crunchlabs.
My YouTube channel is a loss leader. I no longer make videos to make money.
And so you can see how this is such a tremendous growth flywheel for him and why he's been so successful in growing this in 2 short years. Mark did 4 things extremely well that I think a lot of creators can replicate to really turbocharge their growth. Number 1, he built a product that was closely aligned with the audience that he developed on YouTube. And so he had this audience that was super excited about the stuff that he was making on his YouTube channel and the experiments he was doing. And so he built a subscription box that was a direct replica of those actual experiments. So his audience absolutely loved it. He nailed the actual product market fit equation. Number 2, he nails the marketing and funnel optimization strategy. He not only figured out that there is huge value in using his YouTube channel to drive direct subscriptions, but he also then understood the value of all the back catalog of content that he had and the value of changing links in descriptions and removing ads from videos and the power that would actually have in driving new subscriptions in an evergreen way to his business. Number 3, he's looking at the content that he's developing on YouTube as a growth engine. He's investing more and more of his money that he's making from the business back into the channel to make it even stronger, to make it appeal to an even wider audience, and so that he can do things that other creators just can't compete with him on. And so that investment is then driving a much bigger audience on YouTube, which again is driving these new subscribers. And so it's this awesome growth flywheel that he's developed. And number 4, which is probably my favorite, he now has a treasure trove of data that he can leverage to make smarter content decisions about what he's actually putting out there on YouTube, but also better product decisions in which experiments he's actually including within the subscription box. So let's take an example. Let's say he has a Nerf gun experiment that he's launching on YouTube, and he puts a subsequent experiment in the subscription box around the Nerf gun. He launches the video gets average views, 30 million views like he typically does, but now the conversion rate is 2x what he typically sees. Now he knows that type of content converts at a much higher rate to a subscription box. So he knows to include and maybe focus more on that within the product and do more Nerf experiments within the product or something similar. And so that information just gives him further product market fit, strengthens the product for his core audience, which then drives more revenue growth long-term for the business. And so it's an extremely powerful growth engine that is backed by these data insights that can make it grow even faster. So that's the story of Mark Rober and his growth strategy and how he turned his awesome content business that was generating millions a year for him in ad revenue and sponsorship revenue and transitioned it to a physical product that is now generating likely $50 million plus a year for him. If you like that, please subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think of Mark's story in the comments. And if you want more of these stories, let me know. I'll see you on the next one.